So whatever situation or set of circumstances exists at this point, there's lots of possibilities there. And very often we either don't even bother to look, or we look at the downside, or we look at the bright side, or we look at how it's impacting us, or whatever. But we don't look for what the possibilities are. And it's almost like there's a skill that needs training and practice to look at positive possibilities. I know I struggle with this. And part of possibility thinking also is like, let's be real. There's some really bad stuff that's possible now too. So part of being intelligent and wise is looking at the whole situation. We're not going to weed out just the positives or just the negatives. We're going to take them both into account, but we want to focus on the positive developments because that's what we want, is the positive developments. And we're going to take into account the negative things, and there may be ways to look at the negative things in ways that suggest positive things. If there's a particular kind of problem, that can direct our attention to looking at the things that cause the problem so we can correct it. But this possibility orientation is something that needs to be developed. It is different from optimism, because optimism can just say everything's bright and may not be actively engaged. It may be observing. It may be a spectator. Optimism or pessimism as spectator sports, rather than as living into the unfolding of things, that we are part of the unfolding of things. And interestingly enough, as the first line in this says, we are co-creators of all that's happening and will happen. The co-creators is a really important label. It's not one person's fault, me or somebody. It's not one group's fault, them or us. Fault and guilt are like thought-terminating cliches. They end our exploration of the more greater complexity, which involves all of us and the systems that we create, the cultures we create, and that we live in, and that shape our co-creation. So part of possibility thinking is being aware of what is it that is involved in what's happening now, and where is and can be my leverage, my agency. Where can I play a role? Because that's a big part of what is possible now, is what role am I taking, should I take, to make things come out better than they would otherwise? What role could we take that would make things come out better than otherwise? And sometimes it's just deepening into a future landscape. You know, if this happened, what would happen? If that happened, what would happen? If this happened, what would I do? If that happened, what would we do? There's imagination, the use of imagination, future orientation, having that connected to the now, but placing yourself in the future and looking at if it's possible that this happens, what would be possible then? Again, it's a totally different orientation from feeling, we can do anything, we can make our plans happen, versus it's all determined and we can't do anything. Possibility lives in the moment of creating over and over again, with us centrally involved. Whoever we happen to be and whoever we're with, we are centrally involved in what happens next, and orienting ourselves to that and thinking in those terms can empower us to do the things that make sense next, and is a definite big part of collective wisdom. And the probability sciences, chaos, complexity, and quantum mechanics all deal with probabilities, and note that there is an essential aspect of reality that is associated with probabilities rather than certainties and specific linear laws. There's a certain probability it's going to rain. I was thinking of putting a percentage thing as a symbol for possibility thinking, but I went, no, people are not going to get what that means. But that's an important part of possibility thinking, if you really live in it, has to do with understanding the probabilistic nature of what's around you. It's not as solid as it looks. It's not as chaotic or random as it looks. It's all probabilities kind of interacting with each other. So methods, approaches, scenario work is really clear. We're going to look at this possibility and see how do we deal with that? How do we relate to that? And look at that possibility. How do we relate to that? Is there some scenario that's better than another, or are we just exercising our possibility muscles here by trying out different approaches? Positive deviance is looking over a whole field of activity where there is, a lot of people are not doing well at solving this particular problem, but here's some outliers who actually are doing it really well. So we're going to help those outliers realize that they've got a secret that other people in this system need, and we're going to help those outliers go out and teach their secret to the other folks. It's not we're going to find the answer and then we're going to teach it. We're going to get one part of the system to teach the other parts of the system what to do. Possibility journal. This is journalism. This is Peggy Holman's vision of after the who, what, when, where, how. Questions have been asked in an interview. Whatever the scene is, you ask the person, what is possible now? And see and report on those things that people say in the situation. Dynamic facilitation is always, so what would you do about that? Always shifting into that solution orientation.